What's up guys? Today we are going to be replacing the A95K 85-inch TV for this guy over here. This is Sony's brand new Bravia 5. This is their biggest set. This is their 98-inch, which I think is replacing the A90L. Actually, it's more of an upgrade from the X90L since it does have 6 times more zones than the X90L. It's a mini LED, it's got the XR backlight master drive, and it's got new magnetic tweeters for the speakers for better sound quality. If you've gotten a Sony TV in the past, you know, you gotta kind of unclick these little things here. Just pinch the little plastic nubs here, and then they just pull out. So this should just pull away. See, I was a little worried because most of the TVs you gotta lift the box off, but this, they actually thought about it so you could just pull the side panel off. Here's what we got going on. We do get the setup guide. And here we've got the accessories pack. We get the power cord. We've got the remote control. We've got some side panel covers. We've got the battery, some screws, then the other manuals there. Of course, save your packaging just in case something goes wrong. So I'm gonna cut this loose first and then just plug it in just to make sure that everything is working before we hang it on the wall. All right, so what we're gonna do now is that I took the mount off of the old TV. We're gonna mount it on the new TV. So we're just gonna unscrew these 4 screws here. So this is a Sanus mount. As you can see, it's one of those tilting mounts, so you can pull it from the wall, and then you can adjust it up or down like that. Then you just lock it in place with a little screw there, little handle. Then you just do that for both sides. Yeah. Piece of cake. My side is in. Okay. Yep, we're locked. We're clicked in. Woo! Oh. All right. This is bigger than the 85-inch. Wow. Okay. Look at this. Mission accomplished. We even got the little cheap $50 IKEA stand to fit perfectly underneath the TV. I mean, there's literally like a ½ inch between the top and the TV set, which is cool because it covers up all the speaker wires here. But I do have a little bit of a gap here between the center channel, which is up here, but that's fine. I can drop it, but I think I'm just gonna leave it for the time being because I'm anticipating Sony to come out with at least 115-inch, which will probably line up perfectly under the center channel. So Sony, once you come out with that 115 next year, this is gonna be a spot for it right here. Let's go ahead, take off all the wrappings. And I know I forgot to show it we forgot to film it because we were kind of in a rush to get it up. But behind the TV, there are 2 USB ins. There is an optical output. There is the S center, which you can use to plug into your AVR, to use the center as a center channel, to use the TV as a center channel speaker. And there are 4 HDMI ins. HDMI 3 is EARC, and then you have the other 3. They support up to 4K 120, HDMI 2.1, and then you have an IR in as well as an RS-232 in as well. So that's all located on the left side of the TV set. But if you couldn't tell, make sure you have at least 2 people. I don't know if you would be able to do this with 1 person or not, but I would say no. Of course, this is the brand new Sony Bravia 5. It's got the XR backlight master drive, XR processor, acoustic, multi-audio. It's got Google TV built into it. It's got the Netflix Advanced calibrated mode, Prime Video calibrated mode, Sony Pictures Core, which is their own streaming service. It supports Dolby Vision, Dolby ATMOS, and IMAX Enhanced, and there's a QR code if you wanted to scan that for more information. Fully installed. And this is the 98-inch. This is the biggest TV that I've personally had in my possession. I mean, I've seen bigger TVs, but as far as being in my own home, this is the biggest one that I've had yet. All right, so let's just go through really quickly through the setup. Again, this runs on Google TV. So if you have a Android device, you can set it up using your phone, and the phone is gonna connect up to the TV set, and it's gonna sync your data all the way to the TV. And right now, it's setting up Google Assistant. So if you want to ask questions like, okay, Google, stuff like that, you can do that there. Choose my subscriptions, select button on the remote control, start. All right, so that did take a few minutes, but once you get up and going, you will be taken to the Google TV homepage, which does run on Android 12. And once everything does get settled down, this is a rather snappy user interface. But let's go ahead, take a peek at some of the TV's settings. So one of the first things you're probably going to want to do is go under Channels and Input, and then go all the way down to the external inputs, and then change your HDMI signal format /VRR. So you want to make sure that these are all on enhanced if you want to watch your 4K HDR material. But if you do want to game and use VRR, you will have to go into HDMI 3 and 4, which are HDMI 2.1 compliant, and turn on your VRR settings. And make sure you click this one, Enhanced Format Advanced. So you do get two HDMI 2.1 ins. All right, so let's go ahead, drop back into the picture and sound settings. This is a new menu, at least for me, it's new. We've got video, images, game, and then PC. So let's go check out the picture settings here. So right now we've got a few different options. We've got your vivid mode, standard, cinema, professional, calm, and then photo. I'm just going to keep this on professional for now. You can reset all of the settings per preset. Under brightness, we've got your different sliders, brightness, contrast, gamma, HDR tone mapping. We've got your black level, your black adjust, advanced contrast enhancer, local dimming, and then peak luminance. And then under color, we've got some more sliders here. We've got live color. We've got different color temperature presets. We've got expert 2, 1 warm, neutral, and then cool. And then we've got your advanced color adjustment. So if you do have the appropriate gear, you are a calibrator, you can go under here and then make all of your adjustments. And full disclosure, I am not a professional calibrator, so I'm just going to be using the out-of-the-box TV settings for this video. Under clarity, we've got sharpness, we've got reality creation, we've got detail preferred, we've got cleanliness preferred, we've got your intensity slider, you've got auto, manual, and then you can turn that off. I'm going to keep this off for the duration of the video. I'm also going to keep these off as well. So you've got your random noise reduction and your digital noise reduction. And then one thing that I have noticed that is missing is the smooth gradation slider. So it looks like that is gone for this specific Bravia 5, unless I'm missing it somewhere. And then under motion, we've got your motion flow settings here. So you can adjust this under custom, or you've got auto, or you can just turn it off entirely. But if you do want to set this to your own likeness, we've got your smoothness, and then you've got your clearness for camera or film. I'm going to keep that off for now. And then we've got your Cinemotion, we've got high, low, and then off. And then under settings, per input or per app, you can adjust the video signal for color space or HDR mode. So let's back out of this and go over to the sound settings. But right now we have this on surround auto on, or you can turn that off. I actually think it sounds pretty good, so I'm just going to keep that on. You can adjust your surround effect, voice zoom equalizer. You get a few different bands here. And then you can reset those settings. We've got balance, auto volume, Dolby AC4 dialogue level adjustment. So if you're having a hard time hearing dialogue, you can adjust that there. DTS dynamic range, and then post-processing, which uses Sony's acoustic technology. We've got standard Dolby audio processing or DTS Virtual X. We'll come and take a look at these sound settings a little bit later. And then for audio output, once again, you can change between your TV or your audio system if you have a compatible audio system. You've got your audio system settings here. This does have the feature which they call the S Center. So if you have a Sony AVR, such as the AZ7000 ES, which I do have, you can connect a 3.5mm jack from the AVR over to the TV, which will use the inbuilt speakers in the television set to augment your center channel. So it makes it sound as if the dialogue is coming directly from the TV. However, I have found that that feature works better on OLEDs since
they do use the actuators behind the screen, which will fire the sound directly at you, rather than using the speakers that are inbuilt on the perimeter of the TV, such as on this set here. Then we've got some more options here. Audio system prioritization. If you have this hooked up to your receiver, it'll choose your audio system first. We've got sync control, digital audio output, and then your eARC settings. We've got auto, or you can turn that off. Then we've got your Bluetooth device settings, optical digital audio output settings. Then we've got some controls for ambient optimization pro. You can auto adjust according to your environment. I'm going to keep these off. Then under acoustic calibration, you can auto calibrate the sound of the television using the remote control. You will have to choose whether you have this tabletop mounted or if you have this wall mounted. You can turn on off the calibration once you've run through it, but let's go run through it really quickly. You're going to want to take the remote control and hold it up to ear level while you are sitting down, and then click the start button. And that's it. Takes a few seconds and then you're done. And that is it for all of the relevant television settings.
Here we can see how great this handles blooming. I did use all 4 settings for local dimming, and I slightly adjusted the camera's exposure so you can see the faint glow around the balls. Now in person, I can't see any of the blooming whatsoever. I don't know if this would be any different for the smaller sizes, but for the 98, it just looks great. Now there is a reflection of my wall in the screen, so this is not some defect of the TV itself. In real-world content, you can't even see any blooming around the subtitles in the letterbox bars, so this is a win in my book. As for HDR tone mapping, you've got 3 options. Off, gradient preferred, which will give you a good balance of white and black detail, or if you prefer a brighter image with a little clipping in the highlights, you can go for the brightness preferred setting. And I do think it's pretty easy to see all of the extra detail in the snow if you go with the gradient preferred. But if you want to get max brightness and blow out your eyeballs, you can go with brightness preferred and turn the advanced contrast enhancer on high. I know it's hard to tell in the video, but this is actually uncomfortably bright if you max these settings out and you're watching this in a totally dark room. If you've got the lights on, then this would be an ideal use case. Next, we can see how the advanced contrast enhancer works with all 4 different settings. Again, on the high setting, you lose a little bit in the whites, but it can really make the image pop. If you are a stickler for accuracy, then either keep it on the lower settings or just turn it off completely. Now this has 3 flavors of Dolby Vision. The dark setting is the most balanced, but the bright setting can blow out highlights sometimes, and Vivid just looks way too oversaturated. I kind of bounce back and forth between bright and dark depending on how the movie was shot or how the movie looks. As for the dirty screen effect or any dark spots, in the video it does look slightly darker around the edges, but in person it does look just about perfect. At least to my eyes it does. But knowing how TVs are, this could slightly be different for different sizes, or it could depend on how well your TV was manufactured. Luckily, mine looks about as good as it can get. I'm sure as more people get these in, there'll be more measurements and all the technical stuff will be covered, but coming from the X95K, I am not really missing anything major. The black levels might not be as dark as an OLED, but it sure does look pretty darn close, and this isn't even one of their top-end mini LED models, so I am super impressed with this image quality. Now, if you are watching Amazon Prime or Netflix, there is, under the picture settings, a calibrated mode for each of those apps. So for instance, if you go under the picture settings, you can turn on the Netflix calibrated mode, and by turning it on, this will give you some predefined settings under the brightness, color, clarity, and motion. So if you want to watch these movies the way they were meant to be seen within those specific apps, you're going to want to go ahead and then turn that specific mode on. Included with this TV, you will get 5 credits for Sony's core streaming. This is the closest thing that you'll get to 4K Blu-ray quality from a streaming service. You can use the 5 credits for 5 movies, and along with Disney Plus, Core does have IMAX enhanced content with DTS:X audio.
And with a TV this size, the IMAX enhanced movies really do shine. I have always felt that at 85 inches and below that it just wasn't enough to get the IMAX-like effect, but at 98 inches, it's right there with the projector screen, and DTS:X is a real bonus.
Reduced to atoms.
You used them 2 days ago.
I used the stones to destroy the stones. It nearly killed me, but the work is done. It always will be. I am inevitable.
What did you do to them?
Nothing. Yet. They're not trying to stop something I'm going to do in our time. They're trying to undo something I've already done in theirs.
The stones.
I found them all. I won. Tipped the cosmic scale.
The built-in speakers are passable. However, if you're getting a giant 98-inch TV, you're gonna need giant sound to match it. The TV speakers are just too thin sounding to match the visuals. If you don't already have an audio setup, I would recommend at a minimum to get a soundbar with a subwoofer. Any one of Sony's will work, or even the Sony Quad would be a great pairing with this TV. At the time of this video, the 98-inch Bravia 5 is selling for $64.99. They are running a promo right now, so if you do pick up one of these 98-inchers, they will throw in a 65-inch X90L, which you can put in one of your spare bedrooms. Now, I don't know how this stacks up against other 98-inch or bigger TVs, but being a huge projector fanboy, I can see how a TV this size can definitely be a projector replacement. The funny thing is, in my old home theater, I had a screen that was exactly the size as this TV, which I felt was very cinematic at the time. And I will say that projectors that I've had that cost $20,000 or $30,000, even the ones that I have right now, and I hate to say it, really kind of don't hold a candle to the image quality that this 98-inch TV puts out. The blacks are so much better, it's way brighter, HDR has so much more intensity, and it's just as sharp, if not sharper, than any projector that I've personally ever owned. I think if you don't need to place your center channel behind the projector screen and you're already at 100 or maybe even at 110 inches for your projector screen size, that this 98-inch Bravia 5 will easily beat it for image quality. I think this picture is so good that I will actually have to start watching more movies in my living room. I'm not even a TV guy because I just love projectors so much, but having something this big has definitely turned me over to the dark side. Now, this TV was sent to me for review by Sony, but if you guys would like to pick up your own Bravia 5 98-inch, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. So have you seen the Bravia 5, and would you ever replace your projector for a big giant TV? Leave your comment down below and let me know. As always guys, thanks for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you again in the next video.